Hello there. Once again, Stan Tom from Antonimo Bay. Thank you for stopping by the collection room on a beautiful Saturday morning. Just got done walking the Beagle. And it's a good thing we have this cup. It reminds us that we do still, in fact, love him after he's a butt sometimes. But today we're looking at some X-Men comics. I've got issue 34 through 36. We've kind of flipped through issues 1 through 32. Some of those I got a little bit out of order when uploading, but it all works out. Anyway, we can start flipping through these because there's a special thing here with issue 34. I love this Gambit cover. This is Andy Kubert, Sabretooth, Gambit. It's all good. I mean, Kubert has a style that's all his own, but you can definitely tell that, like, from Jim Lee to Kubert, there's a very similar stylistic thing going on that carries the series and makes it look very uniform throughout its first 40 or 50 issues, and just a really good view on a lot of it. That's a really good picture of Gambit. This is excellent work. Oh, so everybody's talking about X-Men lately because X-Men 97 is coming out. I am not interested in that in the least, but I do know that that seems to have helped with the hype on X-Men stuff lately, because I know the last few X-Men videos I put out, it's like, holy cow, a lot of views. At least a lot of views for me. I don't get a lot of views. I'm satisfied. I remember the Mattel, or not Mattel, Toy Biz figure that they made of this outfit with the metal claws and everything, and then they let this creep live in the mansion that way. It's ridiculous. Makes you wonder just how twisted the X-Men are. So wow, this is a Gambit actually not dressed like a total doofus at one point. I mean, it's not a great outfit, but still. I point out often that Gambit is indeed a fashion victim, as is Rogue, which is bad because they're two of my more favorite X-Men, but in their uniforms, they look great. But man, sometimes their clothing choices at home are just not. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe that is a fashion victim outfit. Still, great art, great panels. I saw this in, it was Uncanny X-Men, like years later. The memory of this happening, and this tormented Gambit for years. It's the phrase where he just says oops and drops his friends. Yeah, kills his friends. And yet, you know, Gambit's dealing with this guy who just murdered two of his friends, living in the mansion. And that is just disgusting. Gambit and Rogue. So I pointed out last time I did a video that I was like, how come, you know, Marvel really missed the boat on them ever getting married? Turns out they did get married. However, they got married in 2018. I had no idea. I hadn't read comics for, well, 18 years at that point. I dropped all X-Men comics in 2001 when Uncanny started to get real shitty. So, yeah, I had no idea that those two got married. They really should have pulled the trigger earlier, because they dropped all sorts of hints like those two were going to get married. Clear back in X-Men issue 30, in the wedding of Cyclops and Jean Grey. And it just makes it bogs my mind that they went over, what, 20 years before they pulled the trigger on that. So long that I had stopped paying attention and didn't even care. And I think most of the people who were waiting at that point, much like me, I was like, man, when are these two going to get married? And then, like, okay, I fell out of comics. By the time it ever happened, nobody was even paying attention to all the hints that they dropped, you know, in, what year was this? 94? 93? 94. Yeah, so what a bonehead move. Why lay the groundwork for this thing and then not pull the trigger on it for another 20 years? It was a lost opportunity. Another Kubert cover, and this particular issue of X-Men holds a special place in my heart. Nothing special happens here, except that I happened to pick up this issue. This was the first issue of X-Men I ever bought. I I'd had like a couple issues of Uncanny maybe that I had started to pick up, and I had like X-Men Adventures I was reading. But yeah, I was really, really new to the Marvel Universe, really, really new to X-Men, and I grabbed this one issue over a weekend going to my grandmother's house, which is, honestly, you'll hear this a couple times throughout my videos. There's been a couple issues that I grabbed at a grocery store on the way to my grandma's house because I was going to be stuck there. She doesn't always have the best TV, or there was nothing to do. And I would get one comic, and I would have that comic for like a two or 3 day weekend, and I would read that thing and pour over that thing. And so those particular issues just got so burned into my mind that they just hold a special place for me. And X-Men 34 is one of them. It had Gambit on the cover. I knew Gambit from the video game, the Sega Genesis game. He was the coolest one. I didn't know who these other people were, but I was really impressed. And they're going to this little, my grandma's house happens to look exactly like this. It's Yellow Rock Home out in the middle of Kansas. And this is in Nebraska, which is where I'm from. So this whole issue taking place there really, really spoke to me. And I just thought, oh, that's cool. They're going to a house in Nebraska. On top of that, I was intrigued by Kubert's work. I was intrigued by Gambit's cool coat. I was intrigued by Psylocke's weird lack of uniform. And I was really grossed out by some of the clones they come across. Now, this is before the AOA, so like this issue was really out of context for me. Like, I was just starting from scratch, finding out what's going on. Weird. And I remember Riptide. We have to knock him out. Rogue comes in, all jazzed out. I scrimped and saved and bought this poster. This is the most amazing poster I've ever owned in my life. If you've never seen it, all their power effects glow, and it's got a weird texture to it. So yeah, that was an amazing, amazing poster to have on my wall. This is also where we meet Threnody. This is the first time I had ever come across this character, which you will see a lot more of her in X-Men post AOA. So after the Age of Apocalypse, you'll see her like tie in with Nate Gray. I pulled the plug on him. Hooah! Yeah, I never knew if she was supposed to be like a total villain or a sympathetic character, but I always assumed she was a sympathetic character. Now, Kubert does this kind of stuff, this weird, ethereal, bio-looking, but mechanical. I don't really care for that. I've never cared for that in any book that goes that route. And I mean, there you go. You got clone Sabretooth, but he's kind of melting. I always remember this line, a clone with a glass jaw. How disappointing for you, Rogue. And thought that was always kind of funny. Because everybody's just been dying to pummel this guy forever. I remember this ad left an impression. Yep. They find his base, they find his hideout, they shut it down. East Coast Comics, Expressions letter page. Beavis and Butthead. Man, in '94 they were like huge. Huge. So issue 35, this one I never got like 2 years later. I just had this issue like forever. So as far as what happened before and what happened after, that remained a mystery for a great, great many years because I just never bought and never read regular X-Men. I just bought Uncanny X-Men because I didn't want to have to like follow like a whole bunch of different titles. So I was not flowing in money as much as I am some days. And so as a younger man, I just picked Uncanny X-Men because that was the older one. And that was what I went with. hindsight, I can see that probably regular X-Men had more interesting stuff going on at the time. And it certainly had the more iconic uniforms and outfits. Cool tree. Here, this breaks down their honeymoon, where they get sucked into the future and raise Cable for like 15 years and then go back and it's like nothing has passed. What a weird memory there. I love how these pages are just blending together. They don't have panels breaking us up. They're just kind of plopped together. I love when comics do that. AC Comics does this often with FemForce, and you know, some of the work in this book right now is absolutely fantastic. Who is guest penciler? Liam Sharp. Fantastic work on this. Absolutely fantastic. We're getting just more of it. It just blends no panels, no anything. We just glob it all together, and it works. It really works. I love that. Street Fighter 2 Super. No, well, I mean, I'm not crazy about Cyclops' outfit in this issue, which I think was only in like one issue. I don't remember this uniform ever appearing again, but expressions, baseball cards. What the heck is baseball? Pop that back up there. Phalanx Covenant. So if you're not familiar with the Phalanx, it's that weird, the yellow people, the digital yellow people that basically do this to everyone, make them into a biomechanical. It's like the Borg. It's basically just the Borg. I can't remember. I don't know which came first. Don't ask me to like say which one's ripping off the other one. But I remember the villain was Cameron Hodge. And I remember it very tragically ended with the death of one of my favorite characters. Which would be AOA Blink. So like I just met her and I was like, she's really cool. Then she dies in 616. And then she just exists for a brief period of time in Age of Apocalypse. And then that character, I believe, dies. Or not, I can't remember. But I know some version of her goes on to live in the Exile series, which I have quite a few of. I'm not mad about the series. I'm not wild about it. Oh, you get the intro to Gen X. Gives you kind of a breakdown on the future of the X-Men. Kind of interesting. Gen X, I appreciated Gen X. You know, oddly enough, looking at these pages, that was some of when I culled everything and sold so much a couple years back, I kept all my Gen X. I have a good stack of Gen X, maybe just because it wouldn't sell. And I have a good stack of Exiles, I think also, just because it didn't sell. So that's kind of neat. I've still got those two series, pretty good chunks of them. Anyway, I hated these guys. Phalanx. Sabretooth has escaped. As if you knew that was going to happen. Anyway, this particular issue comes with a hardcover, like a thicker cover, and a chrome. But the Phalanx Covenant was not like a huge, wildly popular line. It was kind of one of the mediocre ones. Anyway, that is 4 issues of X-Men. That's 33 to 36. Hope you guys enjoyed flipping through them and kind of reminiscing about some of these pages. Like I said, some of them mean more to me than others, but heck, either way you slice it, Gambit was cool. We can all agree on that. Anyway, that's my story. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.